Hey folks, welcome to another edition of BrushPile Fishing. We are in the beautiful sunshine state of Florida, Lake Beresford here in Florida. We've been staying at the beautiful tropical resort and now it's time to hit the water. We've got a great guest in store, my good friend, the crappie assassin, Gary Burks. Gary said the bite's been pretty good, but we've had a lot of fronts coming in and out, so we're gonna give it a try. You stay tuned, we'll be right back with BrushPile Fishing.
Many people look at a lake and feel a sense of calm serenity. Crappie fishermen feel the heart-pounding anticipation of the thump. That's why host Russ Bailey is addicted to crappie fishing. It's this addiction that takes Russ from the Midwest to the Deep South in search of the best lakes, techniques, and patterns from some of the best crappie anglers in the country. Right here on BrushPile Fishing.
All right, folks, welcome back to BrushPile Fishing here at Lake Beresford in Florida with crappie assassin guide, Gary Burks. Gary, how we doing, man?
Doing great, Russ.
Hey, I tell you what, man, I have been looking forward to this show since last year when we met.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, you know I'm a guy, I love my shallow water fish, and you say that's what we're going to do today.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get some nice fish under docks and possibly get some really big fish up to the 2-pound range under some really thick vegetation mats. So should be fun.
So folks, Crappie Magnet Jigs, listen. So you guys at home, you know I've been working with Jeff from Crappie Magnet on a new bait. I've got a few prototypes, not the finished one, but guess what? This is going to be the first time we're going to try them in real life. And we'll see what they do down here in Florida.
We'll give them a good old field test, you know.
You ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
I'm pumped, man.
Let's do it.
Here we go, folks. Lake Beresford, Florida.
Here's the lake in.
That structure with them big boats right there,
yeah.
Every time you get around a big boat like that, there's always fish around it. They use that as a structure base. That's why I say this spot used to be really good. But when the storms came in and that big boat sank or they took it out or whatever, you can still catch a couple there, but it used to be one after another, you know. We catch them in here and limits of them in August in here.
In August?
August.
No kidding.
Big 2-pounders in August. In 3 feet of water, because you know, ain't no water in Florida in August.
So they're just looking for that shade.
Looking for that shade.
How do you normally fish it?
We could fit right now. I think pretty much in all these lakes, these fish are starting to go shallow. So usually we troll it or push it, but I'm thinking those fish might be in shallow. They in shallow, we'll probably fish pads, edge of the pads.
Yeah, I'd be all right with that.
Your gear and conditions sponsored by Cornfield Fishing Gear.
So if these fish spawned, or are they just getting ready to spawn?
I think some of them have moved in. I don't think all of them have went on bed yet.
Okay.
But some of them have. When we go, it's funny how quickly things transition. About 4 days ago, we weren't catching any fish in the pads. But if you come 100 yards away from the pads and troll, we caught nothing but females. Nothing but females.
So they were out just a little bit?
They were out just ready to stay, letting the males clean up the beds or whatever. Now, when you go in there, you're catching a mix of male and female in the pads. But there's still quite a bit of females about 100 yards out still. So that's telling you not all of them have gone in there. But I don't know if they have groups that they go in, but the first group has gone in so far. And it makes it fun because it makes makes it so that you can catch fish pretty much
Sure.
more than one method, you know.
There you go.
Hey, Russ, we finally got one in the boat, huh?
Tell you what, folks, if you just joined us, we're on Beresford, but we actually went into the river where it goes. This is like the third or fourth spot. We had a lot of wind on the main lake, and we went back in the river. First spot we tried, first dip in, and there's a fish.
First one. Good fish, good fish. Get him in.
Woo, 2 dips. I haven't got in the water yet, and he's got 2 fish. Nice. Whew.
It's a nice fish. See that? I dug all this stuff out the other day. All that stuff back there,
Yeah.
they're in that thick stuff. And then when we catch a few here, we're gonna move the boat and we're gonna go over there by this tree. There's some other dugouts that I dug out over there, and there's fish all in them.
So just jump in them little holes.
Yep, them little holes.
I have a good idea. I'm gonna put that blue on that fast lane.
Ooh, there he is.
Ooh, there's a good one. Get him out of there. Oh, yeah.
It's a good fish, Russ.
I'm gonna get out of your way. I'm gonna change colors.
Hey, Russ. That's a good fish, Russ.
Oh,
I'll tell you one thing. With this rod, it ain't no second guessing whether you can lift the fish out or not.
yep.
He coming out of there. If the net ain't handy, I feel comfortable just trying to boat flipping with this rod.
Well, you know, I wanted one that you can feel everything but wasn't real flimsy.
Right.
So I kept working on it.
That's the ticket.
You definitely hear the wind, folks. We were on the main lake at Beresford and had to get off of that just for a little bit because of the wind. But you just drive the boat right into the river channel.
What a lot of people don't understand is crappie don't necessarily like fighting all that wind either, that current. They like to get somewhere where it's comfortable for them too. That's why you can find them anytime on these back canals, as long as you got enough water. If it doesn't get too shallow, they'll stay in here all year round.
We're in about, what, 3.5, 4 foot here?
Yeah, we're in 3.5, 4 foot here, but 20 feet that way, it's 12 foot. You know. So they still got that escape
Right.
to deeper water if need be.
Well, they got all this cover here.
And you can just see all the minnows on top of the water. So they got a food supply and they got cover.
And normally, Gary, you were telling me that you got a rake you take with you for this, but we didn't expect to do this.
Yeah, exactly, or I would have had it with me. There you go, there you go. Old warmouth.
Folks, I'm telling you, that's probably the biggest warmouth I've ever caught. My goodness.
Listen,
They don't get that big in Ohio.
listen, I'll tell you this. Have you ever ate those?
No,
Man,
they don't
listen.
get big enough in Ohio.
Listen, that right there, that's a slab. Nobody in Florida's throwing that back. There's one, that's a big fish. That's a big fish.
We are catching everything right now.
I don't even know what this is. Think he's still on, nope.
Oh, we need that rake, don't we?
We do, we did not anticipate this. Oh, it wasn't that big, but he hit like he was. But you know what? He's a crappie. Oh, we just missed another one.
Come on, wind, lay down.
Little guy, but beautiful fish.
I'm gonna get up in that hole I can see. All right, folks, so we're just getting started now. Gary's caught a couple crappie, I caught a big warmouth and some bluegill. The thing is, this is nothing what we planned on doing today. We planned on shooting some docks, hitting some lily pads, but the main lake got so rough, we couldn't hold it on some of them spots. So we moved back into the river. And here's where Sometimes you just got to be persistent and you got to rough it out. Normally, if Gary's fishing this, he's got a rake that he cuts bigger holes out of this stuff. We're dropping into some of these holes about that big right now. So it's going to make the difference between putting fish in the boat or catching none. So sometimes it takes a little work, but always be versatile and have a backup plan. We talked about that in your tournaments, didn't we?
We definitely did. You always got to have a backup plan because you never know what Mother's Nature going to throw at you. And we did not have forecasts for 20-mile-per-hour winds today.
No.
So we're just doing what we can. Just doing what we can.
You know, folks, I don't get to fish this style much. I've done it a couple times with Whitey down in South Carolina, but I love this. But man, it takes an art, especially like we said. You know, we don't have that rake to cut some bigger holes. I mean, we're finding quarter-size holes if we're lucky. But bringing them out of this stuff it's a challenge. But man, you talk about fun.
Yeah, one of my favorite ways to fish is like this, but I'll tell you, it's like night and day when you got that rake to go ahead and make those holes. It hurts your heart when you lose a 2.5 pounder in this stuff because you're trying to bring a 2.5 pounder through a 4-inch hole and it's not working.
That's what happened to me back there. That was a nice fish, but there was just no way he was coming through that.
Right. Especially the thicker it is, there's so much stuff that can happen. A lot of times if the hook is sticking out of the fish mouth at all a little bit, it's going to get caught in some of this vegetation on the way up. So now you got the fish and you got vegetation you got to try to get the fish out in, and man, it's tough. There's one.
There you go.
Another nice fish.
See on the edge?
Mm-hmm. Right up in there. Yeah. See, that's in the tap before that. It was a bluegill.
Yeah.
They all kind of hang out together.
There we go.
What'd I tell you?
There.
What'd I tell you?
There
Nice
we
fish,
go.
Russ.
There we go. First one to get me going. That ain't a bluegill or a warmouth. Look at that. Whoa.
It's a pretty fish.
And I'm telling you, folks, if you've never fished this style, trying to get them out of these little holes is absolutely awesome. The Crappie
fish.
Assassin showing me a new pattern today. And again, I'll tell you what, Gary, I appreciate you sticking this thing out because that wind about did us in.
Right.
You said, no, we'll get them. Another good fish.
Another manatee's coming through. See him?
Oh, I see the wake.
Mm-hmm. Can't tell. Yeah, they say that when you know it's a manatee because it look like footprints. Oh, they're coming right over to us. One was right there. One's right there.
There we go. Oh, yeah.
There you go, good fish.
Bluegill.
Bluegill.
Jeez. Thought I had the mother crappie. But man, look at that bluegill. You talk about hand size. Look at that. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Now we'll see if them crappie are in there with it. There we go.
There you go, good fish.
Another bluegill. Man, oh
I
man.
found the bluegill hole now.
That's all right. Tell you what, if you want to have a fish fry, them gills are as good as anything.
That's right.
Another good one. Hand size. Look at that. Getting a little bit of everything today. Folks, what we have done is made another move. We got out of the river, we caught a couple, but then it kind of shut down. That sun came beating overhead, so we're trying some docks again. We caught a couple more bluegills, a couple nice ones. No crappie yet, but we're gonna get them. Our hope is that that sun has pushed these fish under these docks.
Oh,
like that. Just like
ooh, he
that.
bounced that one.
We'll do that again. Man, he was almost out of the.
Yeah, followed it out of there.
Yep. There we go.
There he is.
Another bluegill, I believe. He's fighting like one. Look at that size.
Whoa.
Gosh.
It's a nice one.
So what we're doing, folks, is turning this into a bluegill show. Look at that. That's up my arm. We moved, what we've done, we caught some in the river. The bite shut down as that sun come up, so we moved under these docks again, hoping that sun's going to push those crappie under the docks when you're mouthing bluegills. But anyways, so we're trying the docks again, and we've caught 3 or 4 bluegills, some nice gills. And if you've never eaten bluegills, oh my, and these are good cleaner size. So I'm not too disappointed in this either. There we go,
Oh.
that's a crappie. No,
Oh,
there
yeah,
it
it is.
There it is.
Good fish, Russ. Oh, yeah, slab. Yes.
Good call to get under these docks.
Yes,
Look at
sir.
there. Oh, we've caught a couple big bluegill. We moved to another dock. That's on the Mermaid, and man, he hammered that thing. I switched colors. We were getting them on fire lane, but I'll tell you what, or fast lane, I'm sorry. But now I switched, caught all the bluegills on that, and that's a good crappie. Let's hope there's more to come. Dude,
I love seeing Russ get fired up.
when I say he hammered that,
Smashed it.
it was there and it was gone.
That's what we want.
One of the things I'm doing, folks, we know these fish aren't real aggressive. So I've got that small cork one, and all I'm trying to do is just pop that jig and then just let it set for several seconds, because they're not going to chase anything, so I don't want to move it real quick, and that'll keep it in the strike zone the whole time also. So really slowing down the presentation right now. Another thing, folks, Gary and I was talking, a lot of people think that you cannot shoot under a dock if the bobber is pegged. That's not true, especially right now. You see how much space we have between the water and that dock. Man, that's plenty to shoot. And a lot of times I'm flipping that 10.5 foot under here.
Oh, yeah.
But today we're doing some shooting. So even with that cork, if those fish are, 18 inches deep, peg that cork and you can shoot under here pretty easy. Time to move. Gary, what's the limit down here?
Limit on all the lakes, 25 fish per person. Actually, 25 fish per licensed angler in the boat.
Okay. That makes it easy for you, because you don't just guide on this lake. Where all do you guide?
I guide anywhere from Lake Okeechobee to Lake Kissimmee to Loch Loosa Lake in Hawthorne. Like, I'm pretty much, I think I got about 150-mile area that I
No
cover.
kidding.
And that's probably about 20 to 25 different lakes in there.
Okay.
It's kind of my niche. A lot of guys guide on one lake and that lake exclusively. I spent the time, put the time in to learn various lakes. So, when customers come in, clients come in, they don't have to drive so far if I can meet them at a lake closer to their house. And not a lot of guides do that. So that's kind of my calling card there.
I'll tell you what, man, it's fun fishing with you. We'll have all Gary's information up here. And that way, and also if you would like to book a trip with him, you can do it direct on the BrushPile fishing app, which I might say is free, no matter if you have an Android or Apple phone. Well, I went back to without a cork now. There we go. Ooh, there's a good fish. Come here. Oh, yes. There's another nice one. Stop. Stop. Whew, I'll tell you what, we have earned every one of these. Right up through the top part of his mouth there. Another good fish, not a hog. But I'll tell you what, I don't think too many people complain about fish that size. And it has been a tough day. So we feel fortunate, and we've ran into several other people fishing today that haven't had any crappie in a boat. So something with this weather's got them screwed up. But again, we put together 2 patterns actually, fishing the weeds, picking a few up off the docks, a few nice bluegills off the docks. And all in all, it's been a pretty good day.
And now, the BrushPile Gear Check.
Hey folks, Russ Bailey here. It's time for the BrushPile Gear Check. As you can see, it was a fairly tough day on the water. We had to change our pattern several times, so we used different equipment. When we were in the vegetation, we were vertical jigging and holes about this big if you were lucky. So we used my Signature Series rod. We had 6-pound high-vis line on. Gary had the clear slime line on. As far as the jig, we stayed with a 1/32 ounce all day. We used the double cross jig head by Crappie Magnet. As far as colors, we used the regular Crappie Magnet tails. We were going to use my new bait that's coming out, but I'll tell you what, we downsized, never even put one on this morning because we figured we'd find a fish and then go to that, but it was tough. So vertical jigging, this is the thing that got it done. Now, when we were dock shooting, we went to the Sharpshooter 6 by B&M. And this is a 1-piece 6-foot rod specifically made for dock shooting. We did 2 styles today. We shot without a cork and we shot with the cork. It was just tough either way. Caught some nice bluegill, a couple nice crappie there at the end. One was on a cork and one was without. As far as colors for dock shooting, I think I caught every fish on the mermaid color with the pink head. So that, at least we were able to put a little pattern together. But again, by the end of the day, we caught enough fish to make it a pretty good day. You never know what conditions are like. 2 rods, that's the equipment we used, and that's today's BrushPile Gear Check. Man. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good fish. Don't get the net or anything, Gary. Come here. Oh, look at how dark. Oh. Stop, stop, stop. Look at how dark that fish is.
Pretty fish.
And that's why they call them specks down here. He didn't want that thing, did he?
Not at all.
Pink head, mermaid tail.
Choked it.
I'll tell you what, you really appreciate these fish when you have worked as hard as we have today. It has been tough, but I'll tell you what, to catch something like this, worth every second of it. If you catch 1 or 2 a day, it's worth it. Look at how dark that fish is. All right. Get out of there. Good fish. We'll keep him for a picture. How's that? All right, folks, back in the studio. I wanted to go over a couple things. You know, on previous episodes, we've always talked about having a backup plan. When we went out that morning, they were calling for winds 6 miles an hour or less. As you can see, we started out on the docks, nice calm water. Within a half an hour, the winds picked up to 25 to gust up to 35 miles per hour. So it was hard to hold on some of them areas, and that's when we went back into the river itself just to get out of the wind. Now, you've seen we caught a couple fish right away in the pads, and then they shut off. I don't know if it was the barometer or what was going on, but they shut off just as quickly as they turned on. So we ended up the day back in another cut. The wind laid down a little bit, but it was late afternoon. We were able to catch some under the docks, which, you know, that's my specialty. I love dock shooting. But even then, we caught some smaller fish you didn't see on camera, but some of them were using the cork, some were without. It was tough to put a true pattern together today, but again, we talked about it on the show, staying out on the water, being persistent, hitting it, trying this, trying that. We did narrow a color down late in the day. It was that mermaid. So just different things, but always have a backup plan because Mother Nature doesn't always let you go how she said it was going to go. We would like to thank the Tropical Resort and Marina for our excellent accommodations during our Florida trip. They have it all from their efficiency suites that include kitchens, bathrooms, living space, and private entries, and more. They also have an excellent marina and boat rentals. Great fishing for bass, shellcrackers, bluegills, and of course crappie, not only on Lake Beresford, but also direct access to the St. Johns River. And for nature lovers, you will enjoy the beautiful scenery and wildlife. The manatee, river otter, alligator, bald eagle, osprey, and owls represent just a few of the species. For more information or to book your reservations, contact the Tropical Resort at 386-734-3080 or check them out on the web at www.tropicalresortmarina.com. All right, folks, it's time to call it a day. It was a long day on the water, but I'll tell you what, I've always told people, if you're looking to hire a guide, find one that's going to do whatever it takes to put you on fish. Gary, we had to work our butts off today, and you said, hey, we're going to try everything we can. We ended up getting some pretty nice fish today.
We definitely got some nice fish. I mean, anytime you come out fishing with me, I'm going to do anything in my power to make sure we got fish, and we switched up different techniques, different spots, and it ended up paying off at the end, so I feel good about that.
You bet. And I'll tell you, folks, seriously, the Tropical Resort was absolutely awesome. Get down here, not only can you catch some nice crappie, some big bluegills, but I'm sure you're going to see all the different wildlife, the gators, the manatees, everything that we got to witness today, based out of the Tropical Resort. Again, a big thanks to them for hosting us. Gary, I believe me and you's going to shoot another show tomorrow, so we better go get all these batteries charged and everything else ready.
Yeah, and recharge our batteries.
That too. Man, again, it's always good seeing you, brother.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, folks, you stay tuned. We'll be back again with BrushPile Fishing.
Special thanks to B&M Pole Company, War Eagle Boats, Crappie Magnet, Slime Line Fishing Line, Cornfield Fishing Gear, Eye-Hole Jig, Easy Drift, Driftmaster, Offshore Tackle Company, Power Pole, Mossback Fish Habitat, Hook and Bullet Sunglasses, Garmin,